Amy Jacobson.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
This sounds like the best event ever. If you want to see the Chicago River dyed green while celebrating St. Patrick's Day, Trump Hotel in Chicago is hosting a morning with an open bar, Irish-inspired brunch, Irish dance performers, and a DJ while the river is being dyed green for your chance to win a ticket. Visit 560theanswer.com and use the keyword Trump.
Let's go, Amy.
Well, I want to win
Let's
this
go.
ticket.
I do too. Let's go.
So this free, just you can't sign up to win. You just have to sign up to win a ticket to go to the event. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is going to be Saturday, March 16th. They normally dye the river between 8 and 10 a.m. So, have you ever seen that, Johnny?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I've been down there.
Is that
It's
fun?
been many years since I've been.
Oh, we
back.
used to go to Harry Carey back when we were in our 20s. We used
Uh-oh.
to tear it up.
Amy Terry.
Me and the Rat Pack, John Garcia, Kyung Lao. I mean, it's just all of
I
us.
actually like him, John Garcia.
Well, you can like him.
Yeah. I know.
Yes.
I actually do.
I know. I love him.
He's done a lot of reporting down in the Joliet channel.
Yeah. Well, he's been there at Channel 7 for a long time. But my God, it's Chris Myers, Matt Piasante, Mike McGovern, stuff like that whole zoo crew. We used to own this town, man. Natalie Martinez, Anna Devlantes, Rob Algus, all of us.
Anna
would just
was
go.
a party?
Oh, yeah, Robin Mead, too. Robin Mead and I won a karaoke contest one year on the South Side. Thank you. Bing. Okay, and enough about that. Reliving the glory days when you're young and dumb. And Democrats, that's what I was, but I'm a recovering Democrat now. But there is a Democrat that we know and love who wants you or thinks that you maybe want to pull a Democratic primary ballot because his name is Alderman Ray Lopez, and he's also running against Chuy Garcia in the 4th District. Good morning, Mr. Lopez. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, John.
Hey,
and
sir.
I will gladly challenge him to a karaoke contest too if I need to.
What's your What's your go-to song in karaoke?
You know, you could give me some Johnny Cash, and we could start belting out "Ring of Fire" right now if you want. You know, we could go the whole route.
Yeah, that's a solid choice. What about you, Johnny? What's your go-to?
Chris Stapleton.
Pardon?
Chris Stapleton.
Oh, which song?
What's the?
Or do you really not sing karaoke?
No, I do.
Is this just a radio bit, John?
Chris Stapleton. Tennessee Whiskey.
Oh, Tennessee Whiskey.
Yeah.
How does that song go? Oh, see, I'm putting you on
Really?
the
No,
spot.
I'm not singing. You keep trying to get me to sing, but I'm not singing, Amy. No.
Yeah, I thought John was doing a Biden impersonation for a moment.
I was.
All right, so did you watch the State of the Union?
I did.
For how long did you last, Alderman?
You know what? I have been a glutton for punishment ever since I announced my run for Congress, and I watched the whole thing from start to finish, and it was rough. Let me just say it was rough. But I love that we're trying to bring back the chicken in every pot motif from Herbert Hoover, and it's, you know, more Doritos in the bag for every American, I guess now is the mantra for American success. So I just think there were a lot of missed opportunities and a lot of diversions from reality, especially saying the border secure and the country's the safest it's ever been. I don't agree with the president on either of those two.
So the person you were running against, Chuy Garcia, voted no yesterday against the Laken-Riley Act. If you were in his shoes, how would you have voted on that?
Well, my track record on that is very clear. I would have voted yes for it because I think that while we can accommodate those that want to be here and want to be a positive impact to the American experience, those that come here and choose to engage in horrendous crimes, drug activity, pedophilia, sex trafficking, things of that nature, they should not be here. They should be deported immediately. And that's even the rules for DACA kids. If you engage in criminal activity, you will get deported. But yet, for some reason, the members of Congress who voted against that act don't see the value in only allowing the best of the best to stay here.
Well, we have
It's just moral character.
Okay, we have our lockdown correspondent, Justin Kosick, also our technical producer, because he's everything COVID. And what's going on? They're locking down a shelter in Chicago?
Yes. So what I read is that a new arrival shelter in Pilsen was put on lockdown because there was a case of measles found. And they are now saying that anybody who's not vaccinated cannot leave the shelter, and those who are vaccinated can leave. and anybody unvaccinated will be screened and offered the measles vaccine. And they're working to identify anybody else who may have been exposed. So,
is this 2 weeks? Just 2 weeks? Do we know how long the lockdown's going to last? No, I know I'm being facetious. But Alderman, what do you know about this shelter that's being locked down? Were you informed of
Well,
this?
what I know, I wasn't informed of this. I saw it yesterday on the news. But what I will say is, when the young 5-year-old died, that's the shelter he lived in.
Oh.
This is the shelter where we couldn't identify sepsis, where they don't have enough clean food, clean space to occupy. And it's no coincidence that this is the same shelter that's now on lockdown. And when I went on media and joined shows like this one, talking about, the unhealthiness and the lack of planning going on in these shelters that the mayor and his socialist allies are putting people in, people said I was gaslighting, I was racist, I was this, I was that. And here it is now, 4 months later. Apparently I was very truthful. And we're seeing the negative impacts, because not only on the migrant asylum seekers, but there are children in that location that attend Chicago public schools. And they go to schools without any kind of vaccination, without any kind of requirements for them as any other student would need. And they've been intermixing with our homegrown Chicago students for months now. And I think it's going to get worse from here because the protocols aren't in place. The mayor doesn't know what he's doing, and his team isn't coming up with any ideas to contain this. And we know that measles will spread like wildfire if it's not properly dealt with. And we haven't had a measles case in over 5 years in this city.
Wow.
And here we find ourselves today.
And here, so were you satisfied at all? I mean, President Biden keeps blaming Republicans for not signing this bill. When it has nothing to, even if they signed it, it doesn't matter. He needs to reverse those 96 executive orders that would secure our border. So is there, do you think at any point in time, Governor Pritzker might wake up to this? Mayor Johnson might wake up to this?
No, I think they're all using for the talking points that they need. It's all about politics and money, to be perfectly honest with you, Amy. And the president is playing politics because he needs an enemy during a campaign, so he needs to blame the Republicans, which I get. He's not going to take personal accountability for the executive orders he repealed that opened the floodgates and let 8 million people come into this country. And he's not going to say anything about his Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, who allowed for these asylum claims to be taken, even knowing that there is no basis for asylum just simply because you need a job. I don't think the mayor or the governor are going to say anything, because what they want to see is more migrants coming into our state so that they could have more federal dollars coming, just as they had under COVID. The migrant situation is the next cash cow if it is allowed to continue, because they're going to use that to get their multi-billion-dollar bailouts once again to help their governments function.
Wow. It's audio. You know, this is just an observation. One of the things I really like about you, Alderman, is you know who you're running against. You could easily go out and play the same role that he's playing, or go left of the current congressman. But I just want to applaud you to say thank you for, taking a stand, because it's not easy to take a stand in a city like Chicago. So I appreciate that about you. And
well, thank you, John. And I will tell you that my voters appreciate the fact that, if there's one thing you can count on from me, is that you're always going to get the honest truth.
Yeah.
Whether it helps me or hurts me, you're going to know the truth. And that's missing in politics. That's missing in government nowadays, because everyone's too busy spinning the narrative as opposed to just telling their constituents, whether it's locally or nationally, what the bad news is and how do we move forward.
Yeah. I got a question about ICE. When the former mayor severed the relationship with ICE, was that done through policy, through the aldermanic? Was that a vote put on that, or did she just unilaterally do that? And has Brandon or has the new superintendent requested a reconnection with ICE?
No, that was done by an ordinance, and I believe it was in 2021.
Yeah.
When then Mayor Lori Lightfoot, the biggest D in town, introduced the ordinance that took away all the last of the carve-outs in the Welcoming City ordinance. Those few categories upon which we could, in fact, work with Homeland Security and the federal government to remove people who were undocumented that qualified for sanctuary if they committed any certain acts. I've tried to reintroduce that under this mayor, and he and his socialist colleagues have sent it to rules in the hopes that it never sees the light of day again. But we have seen since then, obviously with this surge in asylum seeker behavior, criminal behavior, is that many people want to know why we aren't doing more to push the federal government to hold these individuals to a standard. Why the city of Chicago isn't holding people to a standard. In my own Gage Park, where I have a shelter, I was on a meeting yesterday, and everyone wants to talk about work groups and collaboration to discuss how you deal with their illegal behavior. But the one thing that nobody wanted to hear is how do we arrest them? How do you get them fast-tracked and removed from the city of Chicago if they're engaging in prostitution, drugs, gang life, things of that nature, things that we don't need help with in the city of Chicago. We have enough of those problems already with our own homegrown residents.
So is that still going on at all the shelters, the prostitution, the drug dealing?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Are they getting arrested? Because I did go by the end of Chicago, and I was like, what are they exchanging hand to hand? Well, it looks like drug deals.
Oh.
Are they getting arrested?
Yeah. No, they're not getting arrested because we don't arrest people in the city anymore. And it's such a low-level crime, and nothing's going to happen to them other than getting a slap on the wrist and being sent back to the shelter, which is basically starting to show the weakness in the mayor's policy, especially with his eviction order, because he has stated that he's going to start giving people eviction notices to get out of the shelters. But really what that's going to do is just cause these asylum seekers to migrate, no pun intended, to other shelters.
Right. Or just take to the tents again, don't you think, wherever they want? Because it's a free-for-all. If you want to live by Lakeshore Drive, by Lake Michigan, just set up a tent. No one's going to take it away from you. No one's going to take it down until the DNC comes here. Yeah. In 5 months, I think they're going to take all those homeless encampments, all those eyesores, and just, I don't know what they're going to tell them. Maybe like give us a week and then we'll get your space back. But there's one guy at Lakeshore Drive and Irving Park Road. He will not budge. He will not. And then you know what they did? They got him a recycle bin, Alderman Lopez, and a garbage can so that he doesn't throw his stuff on the floor now, that he can put it in a garbage can. Isn't that nice?
You know, it's very thoughtful, and it's pretty much all we have available at our disposal right now in dealing with homelessness ever since the appellate court ruled that a person who is homeless can use any public space as a residential area.
Oh, when was that ruling handed down?
Roughly 3 years ago.
Oh, that's why.
Because before we could come in, give services, help remove and clean up the area. Now we actually physically have to ask for an eviction from someone who is residing on public property in order to move them.
Wow. Alderman, is Chicago ready for the DNC convention? I mean, what are the plans that they're preparing? Because I see this as something that, I mean, we're already letting military-aged men in. Is Chicago ready to do the DNC convention at this point?
Well, I think, excuse me, notwithstanding the individuals who we let in, the fact of the matter that we have so emasculated TPD.
Yes.
And when the purple-haired brigade shows up to protest, and when everyone else, Antifa shows up to protest, and all the paid organizers show up to protest, they know what the general orders for police are in terms of rules of engagement, and they're going to push them to the max in the hopes that someone's going to get fed up and push back eventually after being screamed at for 4 or 5 days, 10 hours a day. And then all hell's really going to break loose. And I think that's what they want. They want to destabilize our city, our region, on a national level for the cameras.
Right.
Because that is what emboldens young people and misguided people to join the ranks of these paid organizers, to volunteer their time and effort so that they can feel as though they are part of some sort of social movement when all they've been is all that's going on is they're being manipulated by groups who are just committed to the chaos and not trying to actually do anything productive for society.
We got somebody that texted in that
victims will be our police.
Okay.
We're going to be caught in the crossfires.
Didn't mean to interrupt you, but we're up against the clock. But I was just letting you know, somebody texted in and said that they are going to pull a Democratic ballot for you instead of a Republican one so that they could vote for you in the 4th district. So anything else you want to say to people that are on the fence?
You know, I will say this. You know, my goal is to get rid of the epicenter of democratic socialism in Chicago and Cook County. That's Chuy Garcia. There's no Republican opponent in November, so if we can beat him in 10 days, it's a one-and-done deal, and I think we have a chance to bring some sanity, not just to the region, but to Congress, too.
All right. Where can people get more information about your campaign?
They can go to RaymondForCongress.com, and I will also be in Brookfield
Okay.
for a fish fry tonight at the Irish Times Bar.
Oh,
So anyone wants to come visit me,
The
6
Irish
to
have
8.
bars?
Yeah.
Is
I
it-
can you believe it?
That used to be my
They
old watering
drink?
hole.
Oh, my
I used to
God.
go there a lot.
You used to go there?
Uh-huh.
What's the name of the bar?
Irish Times.
Irish-
Martin
Irish
Okay.
Times in Brookfield.
All right. Irish Times and Brookfield tonight
It's
from
Irish fish fry. I'll be there from 6 to 8.
6 to 8 p.m. Alderman Lopez, also candidate for the 4th Congressional District. Always a pleasure. God bless and good luck with your campaign.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
We're pulling for you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Join Gat Guns for their 35th factory sale and shoot on Saturday, March 9th from 9 to 5 and Sunday, March 10th from 9 to 3. Meet the Smith & Wesson factory rep and see the new 1854 rifle as well as their full firearm lineup. Enjoy special pricing on certain Smith & Wesson guns. That's March 9th and 10th